see. All right. We are going to Facebook, counting down Nia Song. We have a few seconds. I'll let you know. Are you ready, Nia Song?
Yeah.
Okay, we're on.
This is Africa Media Corporation, Africa Online Media Corporation. This is Africa Online Media Corporation. We are about to start our Sunday afternoon broadcast. It would be evening in some parts of Africa and evening in the far east of the world. But in the United States, we're coming up to 4 p.m. Washington, D.C. time. That is Eastern Standard Time. Good afternoon and welcome to our program. This is Africa Online Media Corporation. We'll be discussing the role of women in fighting the coronavirus and COVID-19. It is a topic of the day. As we all know, since March, we've been involved in this. We've been involved in social distancing. We've been involved in physical distancing. We've been involved in so many things that we no longer know what is happening to our world. But all the same, we are going to get started on this program. Sometime in 2019, late 2019, something happened somewhere in the world called China, and since then the world has not been the same again. We'll not go back to that story, we'll just go straight with our reflection for this afternoon. Good afternoon, my name is Asonglefac Nkemleke. It is Sunday. It is May 10, 2020. It is the 131st day of the year in the Gregorian calendar. There are 235 days left until 2020 goes out of our way. From history, we recall that on this day in 1981, that is May 10, 1981, François Mitterrand won the presidential election and became the first socialist president of France in the French Fifth Republic. And on this day, rather, in 1994, May 10, 1994, Nelson Mandela was inaugurated as South Africa's first Black president. That was then. Today, May 10 is Mother's Day. It has always been though, but today is again Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to all of you ladies out there. Apparently I'm the only male on the program for now, but please, happy Mother's Day, especially to you, Professor Dr. Mrs. Rose Leke. We have known you for years, and please, thank you very much for accepting our invitation. I will continue with the reflection. It is a day to celebrate motherhood. It is a day to make an extra special effort to recognize and appreciate mothers' roles in our lives. Often, we do not limit it just to our birth mothers. We extend it to generations of mothers, grandmothers, great-grandmothers, stepmothers, as well as mother figures. Unfortunately, Mother's Day 2020 puts on a less than usual face. As already said, and speaking generally, Mother's Day celebrates motherhood and is a day to make an extra special effort to recognize and appreciate mothers' roles in our lives. Unfortunately, as we said this year, few are the grandmothers, few are the great-grandmothers, few are the stepmothers, or let alone the mothers who have physically or who will physically receive those hugs and accolades. And so on this second Sunday in May, as we just mentioned, we celebrate our mothers in the most unusual way, subjecting ourselves to a social and physical distance we would never have thought of before today. Last year, something unusual happened in faraway China. Since then, the world, our world, has not been the same again. Many have been sickened and many are struggling for dear life in care centers and hospitals across the globe. Many have gone to early and probably unmarked graves, victims of a malady whose origin is still as mysterious as a cure for it is elusive and not readily available. All those that have gone to the great beyond have done so unceremoniously through no fault of theirs. The coronavirus, with its COVID-19 in tow, is devastating lives, making widows and widowers and orphans of women, men, and children. But undaunted, we trust all to our Creator. We shun fear, we face the challenge, and we trudge on, confident that an olive branch will soon come handy, sure that a rainbow of hope will sooner rather than later be in the horizon. World leaders like the former president of Liberia, the Queen of England, and the Pope reassure us to have faith. They reassure us to not be afraid, and they reassure us to trust that we will overcome, that a new day will dawn, and we will be able again to live our lives as it was meant to be lived. Filled with that hope, sure of that approaching dawn, we resolutely tell our mothers and motherhood in general, Happy Mother's Day. From the bottom of our hearts and from the bottom of everything that we have in us. To every mother, we say, you did not give up during those 9 months in the beginning of your motherly journey, nor at that time or that first and or repeated tantrum. You did not give up when we turned our back on you, never calling, never visiting. You will not give up now. You will not give up tomorrow. When COVID-19 dies, and it sure will, when coronavirus is vanquished, and it sure will be, motherhood and the maternal bonds and the untiring influence of mothers in our societies will find greater reason to celebrate, to remember, and to heave a sigh of relief at the realization that we were sickened but not killed, that we were victimized but not vanquished, and that by practicing social and physical distancing, we saved ourselves and are here today to pick up the pieces, to chronicle the story, and to let another generation rise. Yes, whatever has happened and is happening, we will be able one day to agree with Lisa Turkist, who says, quote, motherhood is a million little moments that God weaves together with grace, redemption, laughter, tears, and most of all, love. Coronavirus, COVID-19 lockdown, social distancing and physical distancing are today's new normal. Yet our mothers and motherhood in general are not giving up. Far from being daunted, children the world over are resorting to the technological accomplishment of these past years to reach out to those they are determined to celebrate. Canadian mass communication mind, Marshall McLuhan, would be certainly celebrating and rejoicing in his heavenly abode for bringing up the idea of the global village. Yes, technological advances have narrowed the chasm and facilitated communication from distances. At this point, let us on Africa Online Media Corporation come together as we do on Sundays. Let us shine the light on mothers and motherhood. Let us shine the light on what mothers do, what mothers are doing always and every day to keep us safe, to spur us on, and to wipe the tears from our faces, because the times when they are rough, mothers are always there with that shoulder on which we lean and cry, but we will not cry. We will be having with us today Dr. Mrs. Rose Leke as our special guest. Happy Mother's Day to you, Doctor. Happy Mother's Day to all the women on the program, and happy Mother's Day to all the women out there listening to us. We are done with this part of the program, but let us get started with the discussion, motherhood in the era of coronavirus. Dr. Mrs. Rose Leke, good afternoon.
Thank you very, very much, Mr. Asonglefac Nkemleke. It's been a very, very long time.
A long time
Almost
indeed.
won't even recognize you. Yes, long time. And it's a pleasure for me really to say hello to you and say hello to, the panel And of course, to my little sister, Reverend Pastor Pam, who got me into this and make sure at least that I must find some time and be part of it.
Thank you. We will get back right to you. We'll get right back to you. Let me introduce my co-anchor, Sylvia.
Right.
She is from another location. I believe she's still in Houston, Texas.
So you are here to stay with us.
Sylvia, yes?
Sorry. Yeah, sorry, I was muted. I'm sitting outside. As you can see, I'm enjoying this beautiful Belton weather. It is absolutely gorgeous outside. The birds are chirping. There's not too many flies, a little bit of breeze, but it's absolutely an awesome, awesome Mother's Day. And let me wish every mother or every woman out there that is a mother. There are also some men that I would like to wish Happy Mother's Day to you that are single parents and raising your children in one way or another. Our hats off to you as women because it's not easy. With all that said and done, I want to say Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers on this forum, Reverend Pam and Dr. Leakey. Happy Mother's Day to you. Sorry, brother, you're the only one I can't wish happy
It's all
Mother's Day
right.
to.
It's all right. I'm used to being with so many women.
I wish you happy Sunday. I wish you happy Sunday, my brother.
Thank
and
you
as
very much.
always, welcome to Africa Online. It's a pleasure always to come to your living rooms and wherever you may be. We want to also wish everybody out there a happy Sunday. Those of you in hospital, our prayers are with you, our hearts are with you. And we pray that your recovery will be sooner than later. And all of you should come out with flying colors so that once you get out of that hospital, make sure you hit that track and do a marathon to prove yourself healthy. May God bless us all. With all that being said and done, Dr. Rosa Leakey, you said we're not going to have a show. Oh, Leke, sorry.
I know
it was like
in Zambia you might pronounce it Leakey, but in Cameroon it's Leke. So.
No problem. My apologies, Dr. Leke, for my mispronunciation of your name. Dr. Leke, please, I would like to give you this opportunity to introduce yourself to the people, who you are, what you do. As I know you're not going to be long on the program with us today, like myself too. I'll be jumping off in a few. But we want to give you this opportunity to please speak to us, tell us something about yourself, and the topic of the day, mothers with coping in this COVID-19. Welcome, yes. Dr. K.
Thank you very, very much. And I guess I just joined my own voice also to say a happy Women's Day to all the women on the program today. It's a great day, even though we're in this situation with COVID-19. I am a retired professor of the Faculty of Medicine and Biomedical Sciences at the University of Yaoundé 1 and former head of the Biotechnology Center. We do a lot of research there, but I still have a lab. The university asked me to keep a lab, so I still have a lab there. I also have really different hats that I wear, but I do a lot of consultancy for the World Health Organization. The most important right now is that I chair the African Regional Certification Commission for Polio Eradication. So it's our commission that will declare, we're going to do it this year, declare Africa free of polio, but with COVID-19, anyway, it will happen. I'm also, board chair for our Medical Research Institute here in Cameroon. I chair the board of directors for that. And also a member of the scientific committee for our First Ladies Research Center here. That's called the Centre International de Recherche Chantal Biya, vice chair for that. So there are other hats. I just got, what that pleases me a lot here. The Medical Council just gave me an honor, appointed me a Queen Mother for the Cameroon medical community. So let's leave it right there about what I do right now.
It's a lot, yeah.
Yes, I have in my career, when I got an award from the African Union, as scientific, it was an African Union scientific award for women. When I won that award, we were told that we should go back and really try and see what we can do about helping young girls in the scientific arena. And with that, when I came back home, we tried to get some grants and we formed what we call today the Higher Women Consortium. And that Higher Women Consortium, we have a logo where you see a higher woman pulling another one. What we're trying to do is to help those younger women. If you find in research, in academia, you find a lot of women down. It's like a pyramid. Assistants, you know, by the time you get to the professors, you don't find them. So we decided to really help these women to go up that ladder so you will see more at the top of the pyramid than we're saying. Awesome. So we have about 132 women in that group, and they are really, I'm amazed at what we've been able to do and what these women, not myself, what these women have been able to do. When it comes now to COVID-19, I'll come back to the Higher Women just to tell you what they've been doing with COVID-19. But we have to remember that women are contributing a lot. Just the fact that women have been asked, you know, when you have children not going to school, people working from home, who has more of the burden? It's the woman. She has her own job to do. She has to take care of the home. Now the children that usually were not there all day, she has to take care of them during the day. She has to take care of the home, take care of the children, take care of the husband, and do her own work. Because even if you're not going to work, you have to work. So women are contributing a lot in that area. As you can see, you know, they're in the front line. Somewhere along the line, I think I read something about the presidents who are women in countries. I don't know if I am the only one who saw that. Yeah. You have women presidents. They seem to be, you know, those countries seem to be handling COVID-19 somehow a little better maybe than others, but that's to be verified. I'm a scientist, I always want evidence. I just saw it somewhere, I don't know if it's fake, if it is true, but I think I saw that somewhere. And mothers, you know, the women who are, no matter what there's COVID, they still stay home. But we have these women that with the women in the markets that are selling. Here we call them the buy and sell them. You know, who are to feed the population. No matter what you do, people have to eat. You don't want food insecurity. You don't want people to die of hunger because there is COVID. People have to eat. And these women are risking their lives and going to the markets and trying to make sure that everybody, at least if you go to the market, you can find some food. That to us also is very important. And even though talking now about the higher women, we're very much supported by our Minister of Women's Empowerment and the Family. And just early this week on Tuesday, the higher women had gotten a program where we decided it's not only science, we have to do something for these women who are in the markets. So we gathered a little bit of money as much as we could, and we made some masks and soap. And then we went and handed this over to the Minister of Women's Empowerment and handed it for her to give to those market women. And the representative of these buy and sell them women was there and was so grateful because they need all these, you know, the masks, the sanitizers, the soap, and so on. So at least our higher women did that. And we have other groups of women also. You have women, you know, senators, women all over. You see them on television all the time, you know, trying to help these people who are helping us, at least make sure that they too are keeping to all these measures that have been, you know, put in place that will help us maybe prevent COVID-19. And, you know, you find also the Minister of Women's Empowerment and the Family, you find messages that are sent out. You just look at your telephone, is the Minister of Women's Empowerment. She's sending out messages and messages, you know, for women to be protected, keep the measures, keep yourself protected. COVID, you know, this is because something happened here last week, the measures in Cameroon, people were really doing very well with them. And then they kind of laxed it a little bit. And just after that, it's as if COVID is gone. People are going around without masks. you know, they were like getting in the taxis. It was, you know, there's overloading again. The nightclubs are on, which they ended before they had to stop at 6. Now they kind of let them go the whole night. And believe you me, now it's as if there was an announcement that COVID is gone. So you need all these bodies, and they, among others, Minister of Health is doing it, Minister of Women's Empowerment, they keep sending all these messages around, you know, for people to, you know, to make sure that it's still in their minds that we're still in there, and people have to make sure that they are protected. Lastly, let me say something as a scientist, that scientists are working. You know, there's research that's going on. And I, in particular, just put out, there are 2 papers. If you see one that was put out by, I think MAPAM was showing that, by Professor Julius Oben, talking about those functional foods. We worked on that together. If you look at the real paper, it's himself, Jude Bigoga, myself on that paper. And also there is a paper in the American Journal of Tropical Medicine and Hygiene, a member of the STMH, and with the regional director for World Health Organization, regional director for Afro, and the head of CDC, and others, we put out a paper this week in the American Journal of Tropical Medicine and Hygiene as members of the Association of, you know, Tropical Medicine. And so, you know, all things are going on. Scientists, we are working. We've written out projects that we're waiting for some kind of funding to be able to carry out projects so we can understand COVID in our own situation. It's very important that there are very many research questions that have to be asked and have to be answered. Here in the country also, they've put in, the Minister has put of Health has put in a scientific committee headed by a lady, the Secretary General and the Minister of Health. And, you know, scientific committee is working, so researchers are working. Just briefly, I think those are the points I can bring in for now. And I think that's a big contribution by women, you know, with COVID-19.
Thank you so much, Professor Mrs. Roseleke. Thank you so much. And Reverend Pam, I think at this point, we should come to your neighborhood and to you specifically. What do you have to say for and about Professor Mrs. Leke?
Okay, thank you so much, Annie Asong. Dr. Leke, I call her Maru, so listeners forgive me, but she is amazing. She's a mentor, somebody I look up to, a role model for the African woman. So Amaros, thank you so much for squeezing this program into your schedule, your tight schedule. On behalf of Africa Online Media Corporation, I want to thank you profusely for making this time. You know, it's 9:30 Cameroon time, but I'm going to go right quick into a couple of questions, and I'll hand over to Sister Sylvia, who is from Zambia. Maros, I saw the paper that you guys put out. My question is, you know, I don't know how many countries on the continent are familiar with achu soup, and I looked at the paper. I didn't peruse it in details because of, you know, some family issues. But how the sample of patients, isn't that quite a small sample to come up to those conclusions that the achu soup actually help? And what about people that have gastritis? That's one question. The second question is, personally, and I've mentioned this on this show multiple times, I am not giving out a prescription or speaking as a pharmacist, but as an individual, whenever I have the flu, I'm one of those people that don't like taking medication, but I drink pepper soup. And believe it or not, in less than 12 hours, it knocks it out. So the second question is, have you guys done any studies with pepper soup, or is just achu soup, Amaros?
Thank you, Mapam. That paper, if you read it well, all it is saying is, you know, when we found out, I think people haven't thought, they're only thinking of this virus in the upper respiratory tract. Mm-hmm. When you think that this virus, live virus, has also been found in the feces, when we found a few publications as such, and now you're even seeing people telling you that you should go and put Clorox and everything in the sink because it seems it's in the sewage. Live virus is in the stool. This is the problem we are facing. So when you have live virus, it means it's going through your intestinal tract. You don't know what it'll do there, and it's coming out in the stool. But no, we didn't do that work. We found those publications, and they are mentioned there. So the first thing, Professor Oben is a nutritionist, and I have Jude Bigoga, who is really now wherever he is, and he called and he was like, this is, if you think of emulsification, one, you make achu soup, because that protein coat, that coat is a protein coat, and you need something, they tell you to wash your hands with soap, and soap will dissolve that coat. This is what is at least, so that you break that coat away, and then you're able to destroy the virus. And you know, when you make achu soup, it's sort of an emulsification. When you do it, it's like making soap. You know, when you make achu soup. And then it was like this one, that's one thing that when it goes down the intestinal tract, might be able to do the same thing to that virus like soap is doing when we wash the hands. That's what we're saying. So we're saying, no, the experiment hasn't been done. And then Professor Oben went ahead and said, if really this thing is in the gastrointestinal tract, and then we have, say, achu soup is like you're making soap. Let's add things that contain zinc, like egusi, right? So will help you. Let's add some other things and see whether this can be able to help, because we better start looking for things now. It's the rainy season. This virus is to be left outside, and you know it will clear off, and children will start picking it just like they do with poliovirus. So that is where all this thinking started out. So we are not saying, I've seen people now, they say achu soup will cure it, or it will do this, or it will do that. No, it's just, I hope you've understood where that is coming from, the science behind it, that if you find live virus in the stool, means it's going through live virus, the intestinal tract, and if soap, you wash your hands and soap will take it off. Something that acts like soap on the virus could be helpful in the intestinal tract. And that is how we were able to propose achu soup, that it could be helpful. We have not said it cures it. I know different media have taken it up, and you know they're saying different things about it, whether it cures it, whether it's what. But I hope Mapam have answered, you know, what you said. That's not part of achu soup. I'm so sure there are many things
this is excellent
going on. There is a lady to that. Yes, because there's a lot happening in medicinal plants here. I hope you've heard about Archbishop Cleda, you've heard about what's happening. We have a lady that I listened to today myself, very interesting, and you know, who's coming up, who came up with some other medicinal plants that they believe they're really treating people with. So let's not forget that part of it, our ingredients, our plants, and all of this that could really be helping in some way or the other. But you need good scientific evidence for all that. But while we wait for the evidence, I think these are good theories and suggestions that, you know, could be working.
Awesome.
Excellent. Doctor, that was an excellent dissertation of the COVID for now with our regular medicines. I have two questions for you, Doc. You are familiar with the doctor from Congo DRC who made it allegedly, let me say allegedly, because I want you to answer that whether it's correct or not, who allegedly has come up with a cure. He's originally from Congo DRC, Democratic Republic of Congo, and that this one he also is being backed by the World Health Organization. Then number two, you were talking about the virus being live inside inside the human body. So is it fair or correct to say when a person dies, that virus is still alive? So those people who are touching that body or the corpse are also susceptible to getting contaminated. Is that a true statement to make?
Maros, you're muted. Dr. Leke, you're muted.
Okay, yeah, I did. Thank you. I'll take the last one. You see how they are treating, you know, the corpses. You know, if you die with COVID, your family doesn't get you. It's frightening people now, and they don't even want to go and say they have COVID, because normally what happens is you would love to take your corpse and go do your burial and so on. But because of that virus is still there, and you can see the precautions that are taken to bury those people. And those corpses you've seen all over the world, they're just taken and buried very, very fast, different places, and all the precautions taken because that virus is there and is there for quite a while. I think, in places they said you can't even, if you want to go and get the corpse after, you might have to wait about a year or maybe 3 something like that. If you think you want, they're burying them in a way here, and I know it's all over, it's the same. So what I'm trying to say is, yes, the virus lives for quite a while. If somebody is infected, the virus, even when he dies, the virus is still alive. And that's why they get them buried in a very special ways, very special people that are well equipped to be able to do these burials. And now talking about the DRC, I don't know if it's DRC, maybe I don't read too much stuff, whether the DRC, that's the guy with the Artemisia? Is that it?
Artemisia is from Madagascar.
Madagascar. The one from DRC is what? You are muted. You got, yeah.
No, it's from Madagascar.
There is so much.
The gentleman that discovered it is of Congolese descent. He's a Congolese who resides in Madagascar. So he found that whatever is supposed to be cured, and I believe his president has asked him to come back home. Yes. Okay. I couldn't remember the name of the but that is it. Yes.
It's been going on. You see, these anti-malarias, Artemisia is whenever you take Marpam Coartem, that you take for malaria, it's artemisinin and lumefantrine. All medication for malaria now that you take in Africa is artemisinin combined therapy. So there is a component of Artemisia in the malaria medications that we take. And right now, it's what they found there. I think many people are taking it, but I have a caution I have with that Artemisia is, if we take artemisinin as monotherapy, we are going to build up little by little resistance of malaria parasites to artemisinin. That's why it's given as combined therapy. Artemisinin acts on malaria very fast in 3 days, and then the parasites that are there are cleared by the second medication. So it's an artemisinin combined therapy. So when chloroquine, fine, because we're not using chloroquine anymore. The parasite got resistant to chloroquine, wasn't responding again. So on the continent, we don't use chloroquine anymore. So nobody's going to argue that. But artemisinin, no matter Artemisia, does contain this artemisinin. And I have this fear about it, using it a lot in Africa. We will help COVID, and hopefully that's what's really helping COVID. But we might develop another problem because it's a monotherapy, and little by little, we might be developing artemisinin. And we don't have another malaria drug now more than the artemisinin combined therapy. So that's it. That's what I can say about the Artemisia. But it's helping with COVID. So we just have to know that and take that precaution. At this point, everybody is trying anything that works, to help to prevent. Scientifically, we still need to do clinical trials, randomized clinical trials. But as long as that hasn't been done and things are helping people, you want people to live. So what can you say?
Yes, Sylvia. Yeah, it looks like there's somebody on the line who's trying to ask a question or make a comment. Please come forward and just state your name and go ahead and ask your comment. Uh-oh.
Caller, can you ask your question?
I think the person just dropped. They'll probably zoom back in.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Doctor, just before doctor gets off, you were saying that when the corpses, for sure, I've noticed that the corpses are being buried by the trained medical personnel or the trained medical people, and you for sure confirm that the virus is live even in the grave. Do we know the lifespan of that virus in that grave?
Really? This virus, I can't tell you, I don't know. I don't know what the lifespan is. You need people who've really been in the lab with this virus. They tell you when it stays outside, what there's been different things, 5 hours or how many hours, but since it stayed so long in the body, I really don't know. Maybe some other research they've come up with that evidence of how long it stays. But I have no idea how long it stays. But at least when with them, yeah.
Now, Doctor.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much for all the research that you people are doing. And I think it is one of those areas in which research has really hit the ground running, doing all they can to be able to help us find solutions to how to solve this thing. The West is telling us that it may take another 18 months for us to have a vaccine. But then, are vaccines the solution to solving some of these pandemics?
Believe me, vaccine, we need a drug that will cure. We need a vaccine. We need one of those soon. But a vaccine cannot be, what happens, people are really working on it now. It seems there are molecules out there that, they're coming up with it. But for a vaccine, you need clinical trials from phase 1 to phase 2 to phase 3 to phase 4. With all the conditions that are put in for you to come out and say, this is a vaccine. It takes a while. That's why you can hear the minimum of 12 months, 12 to 18 months, because you have to get the molecule, make sure it's working, maybe in an animal or primate, before you go to man, before you start the trials in man from phase 1 to phase 4, before you have a vaccine. It takes a while, but there are, there are trials going on now. I read, what's interesting also is, if you know Professor Gallo, who was one of the founders of the HIV virus, he's talked, I don't know if you've seen him, he believes now, I think a trial has even started, using the oral polio vaccine to use it for now, because it's something that is so well known, is given as a vaccine, it's been given all over the world, and right now we're hopefully finishing with polio if we could, soon, if not of COVID, really we'll be going further with it now. But he wants to use the oral polio vaccine, which is also, a vaccine developed virus as such. He wants to use that. Business people have been taking it, so you can have an immune response that will start fast, an innate immune response that starts early, because we know that virus will know what it does. And then before you are getting an immune response to the COVID, you will get protection with what you're getting with the oral polio vaccine. That has been known, it's been studied so much. We know the immunology, we know how long it takes, we know what it takes. There are no side effects as such. All of that is known. So it's a known vaccine, people have been taking it. So he's doing some trials now. I think he was going to start those trials of using that and using it on people so they start mounting out some immune response before the real immune response comes for the COVID, because that one takes a while. So that's what, and then you heard about BCG too. It's the same kind of idea using BCG, because we are still vaccinated here in Africa a lot with BCG. And it's also believed that maybe, is that one of the reasons why people are thinking we have it less or so, because the immune response eats up fast. The responses that go on for BCG might be helping us to be able to combat the COVID better. So all that is going on.
Yeah, keep that thought. Sylvia, you have a question or anxious to say something? If not, I'll go ahead with a question.
No, I wasn't going to say anything, but I think we had a caller or two online. I just wanted to check.
Yes, there's Elizabeth who's been on the line. I think she came back. She went out and then came back. Elizabeth, if you're listening to us, please go ahead and make a comment or ask your question.
I think she's having difficulties, but we have a Love's iPhone. We have Julia. Please unmute yourself to ask a question. And Dr. Leke, this is just amazing. The information we're streaming on live on Facebook. There's several people watching on Facebook, and this information is gonna go far and wide, and hopefully save some lives. So if you want to ask a question or make a comment, or unmute yourself. We are talking about the role that mothers and women have played in fighting this COVID-19. You don't have to be a scientist like Dr. Leke, but just mothers are teaching the children and reinforcing the physical distancing. I don't know why they call it social distancing, but physical distancing and good personal hygiene and hand washing. Over to you, Niaso.
Yeah, thank you, Reverend Pam. Dr. Leke, we come back to something we said earlier in the program. I think you also mentioned it, the role of women in the family at this time of lockdown. It may not be as hard, as forcefully enforced in Cameroon or Africa as it is out here in the Western world. Because here in the Western world, we're totally locked down. And if you have to go out of your house, you must wear a mask and you must fulfill that social and physical distancing. Back home in Cameroon in particular, I've been seeing videos from Cameroon, in particular this past week, of people going out to their bars, people going out to their nightclubs. What is going on? Are people, do people think that coronavirus or COVID-19 is a myth?
Well, this week has been a little, the president, the prime minister, Reg, and the minister of health all put up these measures. And at that time, it was on the 17th, if I remember, the 17th of March, that all this was put in place. The bars had to end at 6 p.m. The taxis, you couldn't overload them. You only had a few people sitting in them. And all these, and I tell you, then they came on later and said everybody with a mask. Believe me, people it was tough, but everybody was really, really trying. The bars closed. They'll go in there. You even had policemen going into bars and getting out people. Sometimes they closed the doors and they made as if there was nobody, but there were people inside. You saw it on TV, the policemen got them out. So that was really going well. So somehow, I don't know why, these measures were relaxed about a week ago. And now the bars are open all night. The taxis, that night there was jubilation. I'm sure you saw it. It's as if somebody came out and said, COVID is gone. The nightclubs, since then, there was jubilation on the streets. But the government has come out to re-emphasize that doesn't mean, because they said that could go on, doesn't mean these measures of the masks and the physical distancing, and for people, not to be more than 20, 50 in a place, all these measures are there. And people have to try to keep to them. But somehow, since then, if you go down the streets, even till yesterday I went down, people are not putting on the masks. It was coming. So there is also, the government is continuing different groups, different people are going out at all the levels into the communities. That's what I really like, because people have gone into communities to sensitize these people. And that's really what we would need, so that people would understand that COVID is still there. We're still not yet even at the peak that they were predicting. Though people are thinking that maybe it won't be as bad as it was predicted, because now we're supposed to have been, I don't know where, according to those modelings and predictions, but it's not as much. But still, we have over 2,500, cases. So that's quite a bit. And the deaths, which were about 60 something, today they were announcing over 100, 114. So mainly that will make people see that it is really still a very big problem. The government is doing everything, to try to really enforce this. Individuals are doing it, groups are doing it, organizations are doing it. So we really hope in the communities in Bali, Mapam, FedFed had rushed. They've been doing so much with that. And the FedFed National was out there in Bali to give protective masks to, in the markets there, and they talked about it. This was out, we saw it on television and so on. Different groups are doing the same thing. Even families, we ourselves tried in Bali, Fomban family, do something about the masks in the church and so on. So people are very involved, and we're hoping that all of these actions by government and by different groups that are involved will really make people understand that, the severity, the gravity of this should be taken much more seriously than it is being taken at this point. My internet connection is unstable.
Oh, sorry. The question, Elizabeth, if you are still on the line, if you were still trying to reach us, you can type your question to us on Africa Online Media Corporation, and we'll be able to read it to Dr. Leke, because it seems like you're having technical problems with the phone. So if you can type in your question, we'll be able to ask it from our end. Sylvia, you have a question or a comment?
I think you have Miracle online too. I've seen her number flag twice. Miracle?
That's Reverend Solange, and they can also use the chat button at the bottom.
So you can use the chat button on your screen.
Okay, all right. No, I didn't have a question. I was just paying attention to those that were coming online to give them a chance to do.
I have a question for Dr. Leke.
Yes, go ahead.
Dr. Leke, I have a concern, two concerns. One is about the testing. Every day now, there's so much false news out there. Everybody's a reporter, people sending out information on WhatsApp that's not accurate. And they are forwarding all this misinformation without vetting them. So there are some people that will say the testing is not that available or accurate. So the number of reported cases are not actually accurate, not just in Africa, but even globally, even here in the US. But the other question I have, the concern I have is, I don't know how well our medical professionals are being trained or in service on how to handle our patients, because there are patients that have presented with malaria or typhoid or just fever, and they're being neglected because the workers are afraid that it is COVID. There are other ailments that have symptoms of high temperature that are not necessarily COVID. Yeah. So, I mean, what kind of, training has been put in place, to your knowledge, to help the frontline workers know how to treat these patients? Because there's no sense in anybody with malaria passing away because some healthcare worker was afraid that they have COVID. Dr. Leke.
No, I think, what you're saying is very correct. That when the health system that we have, usually, I think WHO even has in the guidelines to be careful not to, so it doesn't get overwhelmed, and then we forget the other diseases like, malaria you're talking about and so on. And I think even the Minister of Health here has mentioned that also, and trying to keep all the services really working. We on our part of vaccination, I chair the vaccination NITAG, National Immunization Technical Advisory Group here, also is coming up to see vaccinations, as much as possible. WHO has set guidelines and sent it out to countries, and countries then use this to adjust it and adapt it to what suits them. So all that really is in place. And I think every country, like our countries also, is trying very hard to keep up with those guidelines, adjusting them to how they're used. It is true that sometimes people have gone in with fevers and they think, you hear those stories all over. And I'm sure you hear those stories everywhere where there's COVID. It's not only in Cameroon, those stories. And the neglect that there is. Some people are afraid, you've heard about it. People are scared. It's something that scares people, the doctors, the nurses, and so on. But, the work health force that we have here, really, I congratulate them, because I think they're really doing a great job. And whether it's here, whether it's all over the world, they really should be lauded for what they're doing and really commended. They are doing a great job. You know, there are some of those things you can hear. We'll do complaints once in a while, but I think a great job is being done.
Yes.
One other thing I would like to say while here, you talked about testing. Testing is going on. It's true that maybe they're not testing. People are afraid now, as I'm hearing just, you know, Cartier, people are afraid to go get tested. They find you COVID, they keep you, and then they'll go bury you if you die where your people cannot go. You know, in the African sense, that traditionally just gets you to think they're going to carry your person, go through somewhere, not bury them. So that is going on. And I think test people, it seems as if that's happening. People are being, but the testing itself, we got, the ministry here got quite a bit. Alibaba sent tests out to African countries, you know, and we received, Cameroon did receive its own. And the president has also got some, we got on the TV, some tests that have come in. In fact, these are tests, antigen tests that you can do in 15 minutes. It doesn't take very long to do again, but it's still viral protein tests that you do on the viral protein. You can test in 15 minutes. So the country does have those tests also that the president has sent out that can be used. So testing as much as possible is going on. You know, the problems you find in other countries, you will find here also, but it's not only us. What I want to say, excuse me, is about vaccines. You know, we talked about vaccines. I have a fear now in this country. Something happened, and there were some French people who talked about vaccines and vaccination. I don't know if you got that.
Yes.
And vaccinations in Africa. And now I've had people say, if you go for any kind of vaccination to a group, go to a community that you want to vaccinate, people will drive you away. Is it that vaccine? Is it that thing that you are bringing? That one that. Yeah. So we need a lot of sensitization and messages. Last week was the vaccination week about the importance of vaccines and vaccination. How we can get, and then you have these things where anti-vaccination, you know, you have these activists in the world that are anti-vaccines.
Yes.
So they pick this up, and the messages that are going around, I'm sure you all have heard it. So we all have a duty. Vaccines have saved millions and millions and millions of lives in Africa. We all know that. And we have to get back to our people for them to understand the importance of vaccines and vaccination. How that's going to happen with what has gone on really is a great challenge. So you all, when you're going on with these programs, please make that part of your every week or whatever it is to talk about the importance of vaccination, and let our people not listen to this anti-vaccine activists or whatever it is, because even when the COVID vaccine comes on and Africa has to get this vaccine also and, you know, benefit from it, I wonder how many of our own people it will be. Everybody will be just so scared. So vaccines, the importance of vaccine and vaccination, especially for us, whether it be the measles, whether it be, I mean, polio, whether it be, you know how vaccine have, how they've really helped us. So we have to all try to keep on talking about this, sending the right messages and sensitizing people about the importance of vaccination.
Thank you so much. Reverend Pam, a question or a comment?
Yes, we have 7 minutes to the top of the hour. Dr. Leke, thank you so much. The thing is, that's why we do this show, and that's why we do it at this time, so our people can hear. The truth of the matter is that there's no vaccine as we speak, but when the right vaccine comes up, we will be sure to let them know. One of the concerns we have is we don't want Africans to be used as guinea pigs. The COVID case in the West is higher than that on the continent. So let them test it in France, let them test it in the US, let them test it in China before it gets to Africa. That's our concern. Reverend Solange, you can unmute yourself if you have a comment or question. We're talking about the role that mothers have played in fighting this COVID-19, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a scientific role. We are blessed to have an awesome mother and an awesome scientist. One of her nicknames is Mami Malaria. She has done more work for malaria than any other woman that I know, and she continues to do so even though she's retired, and we appreciate her. Reverend Solange, do you have a question or comment? We also have somebody named Love's iPhone. You can unmute yourself and pose the question. We have 6 minutes to the top of the hour.
Reverend, I need to drop out. Let me say good evening, good night to all of you. I have been summoned to say the Mother's Day dinner is ready. So I will see you all next week. May God bless each and every one of you. Thank you so much, Dr. Lekki, for coming. Reverend Solange.
Thank you.
And my brother Asong, all the best.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for pressing your way and keeping your children waiting.
Happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day.
Mother's Day.
Back to step
Happy Mother's Day. Enjoy your dinner.
Happy Mother's Day to everyone in the house.
Yes.
I would say I'm privileged to listen to Dr. Leke speak because she is an expert, knowledgeable in some of these tropical diseases or infectious diseases. I mean, she doesn't know me, but I know who she is from her work. And it's a privilege just to listen to her talk. You know, it's kind of encouraging because a lot of us, we have this thing, I don't know if I'll call it misconception about the vaccine thing. It's like we feel like somebody is out to get us in Africa because we're not educated enough to understand which vaccine is a killer vaccine and which one is a healing vaccine. So I'm just happy that she shed some light on that. That vaccine has helped a lot of people in Africa more than it has hurt or destroyed or something like that. That is really good to know. Yeah.
I think we have somebody else near from Love's phone who was trying to speak. Please go ahead. The airways.
If you're on the phone, please go ahead and ask your question or make your comment. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate being part of the forum this afternoon. This is my first time on this in this forum, but it's highly educative. Just like she said, we've heard so much about the vaccine thing, and then we've been propagating a whole bunch of stuff, you know, to our people because we're so scared that they want to kill the Africans, you know, and we wanted to be used as opportunity. But it's so good to hear from our own, you know, and this kind of give me a kind of confidence, and then we can start reposting again, you know. So I really appreciate you getting all this together and getting the people together and bringing in the doctor and then everybody in the house. Happy Mother's Day. Thank you so much. My name is Foluke Oladipo. I'm from Columbia, South Carolina.
Awesome.
And I really appreciate you. I also work in the health sector, but you know, I also believe in the ABBA, you know, the use of apps for this corona thing, because I have a lot of friends that have used a lot, you know, like the type of list that was used, you know, the formula that was used in Madagascar, because I have it on my phone. I have friends that have used, and then I still use it back home here in my house. You know, we try to buy some of these citrus, we boil them together, pineapple back, you know, different things, and then we try to drink, you know, just for preventive purposes. And then, you know, I try to get some supplements online, you know, subscribe to some, you know, take as much as we can just to build up the immunity, to make sure that everybody stays strong, and you know, we just try to do the little we can, and then try to educate people around us, you know, because we don't want to lose anybody that is so precious to you, you know, both friends and family and stuff like that. So this is a great forum. I appreciate everybody. I thank you all. Thank you, and God bless you. Thank you so much for the knowledge, for everything we have had. You know, is an eye opener. Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming in, and we
Great
hope that henceforth you'll be able to participate in Africa Online Media Corporation broadcast.
Yeah, my mind, my spirit, everything about me is sold out for Africa. I can't wait for us, you know, to be united, to have a united Africa, to liberate our people from poverty, you know, to do whatever we can do. You know, I'm just all sold out, you know.
Awesome.
And I know a lot of people are passionate about Africa. You know, I believe we can, you know, we are even in the United States of America, when you look at Trump's the president, you have Africa in his cabinet. You know, we can do it all. We have the best of brains. We have look at the mama that has just spoken. You know, we all. You know,
her name is Dr. Leke.
You see, Dr. Leke, can you imagine? You know, these are people, you know, these are our own, these are our people. I believe we can make it in Africa. I believe we can be the best. And we can be on our own, you know, but, you know, too much enemies all over the world. When we come together, you know, we can do the best for our people. We can move for African forward. You know, poverty can be eradicated because there's nothing we can do. You know, we can do it all.
Thank you so much. Hold your thought. We're at the top of the hour. Don't go away. Please.
I'm so sorry for talking so much.
Don't go away. Reverend Pam will have an announcement. Then we'll come right back. So please, Dr. and Mrs. Leke, please hold on, and we will take a message from Reverend Pam. Then we'll get back to you.
Thank you, Song. My sister, I think you said your name was Folake or somebody. Please inbox us. Okay, inbox us on our Facebook page. We would add you to our WhatsApp forum. We've been doing this show for 4 years, but we started doing the video streaming 2 years ago. As you can see, I'm actually doing the streaming. I'm not an IT person. I'm a clinical pharmacist. We need IT help. So your brains belong to Africa. Dr. Leke is truly an Africa's brain bank, and we are honored to have her. Believe me, just Google her name. You will be surprised. She is such a prized brain, you know, a pride of Africa. So we are fortunate to have her. We have enough brains among our own people to solve our own problems. We don't need the East or the West for help. We have the brain power.
No, we don't.
That's why we're building a brain bank, so that we can solve our own problems. We don't need an outsider to tell us how to educate our people or how to sensitize our people about vaccines, about COVID, about everything else. So thank you so much. Please don't go away. Inbox us, and we would add it to our WhatsApp forum, because we discuss these things for 1 week before we actually do the live broadcast. But a minute after the top of the hour, we mentioned the frontline workers. Starting tomorrow, we're going to be talking about the role that the frontline workers have played during this pandemic and how we should reward them. We want to give a shout out to our frontline workers. Our frontline workers are not just the doctors and the nurses and the pharmacists and the respiratory therapists, even the janitors in the hospital. Our frontline workers include police officers, firefighters, the grocery store clerk, everybody that has stayed at work, you know, just to make sure life continues. Because the truth of the matter is that even the truck driver that brings the groceries, if he stayed at home because of fear of contracting COVID-19 or getting infected by the SARS-CoV-2, that's the coronavirus, you and I will starve from starvation, from hunger. So there are people that have put their life on the lines and continue to do so during this pandemic, just so that life could go on. So we are going to be honoring them. We're going to be talking about what they've done and what they continue to do. We know a lot of frontline workers have died, you know, giving their lives basically for us. So we want to encourage everyone, please take care of yourself. There was a sign from a medical professional saying that I stayed at work so that you stay at home for me. That is so powerful. Let's appreciate our frontline workers. We're going to be talking about ways of appreciating them. I am proposing one thing. Somebody started a campaign that they should forgive student loan. We know that most healthcare workers, especially the doctors, come out of school with hundreds of thousands of student loan. That would be a good way to say thank you to them. You know, it's one thing to sing to them and salute them. Talk is cheap. Let's do something. Let's relieve them. I'm not saying it because I'm a medical professional. There are things that those of us who are not out there, can do even online, remotely helping, you know, the data entry. There are so many different remote work that we can do to help, especially hard-hit cities like the city of New York. So on behalf of Africa Online Media Corporation, we want to do a shout out to all the frontline workers. And we want you to know we are praying for you. We are interceding for you. We will continue to do so, and that God will protect you. We also want to thank those who have come up with other ways of protecting our frontline workers. The same necessity is the mother of all invention. During this pandemic, so many people have come up with ingenious, protective wear. Even in the continent, I saw where in Africa, I don't know which country or which village, they came up with a hand washing station where you don't even need to touch the soap dispenser or the water dispenser. And my heart's out to them. Our hearts out to them. A couple of announcements. Because of the coronavirus, our second annual Africa's Brain Bank Summit and Charity Board that was slated for October the 3rd this year has been postponed to October the 2nd of next year. Same venue, BWI Marriott. We're going to have some powerful brains. Dr. Michael V. Roberts, the hotel billionaire, who is also, who last year was crowned as the king in Ghana, is also part of the cabinet, will be the chair of the event, and Dr. George C. Fraser, who has made more multi-millionaires in the African American and African community than any other person, will be our keynote speaker. We want to encourage you to save that date, get your organization to purchase a table. In that morning, we're gonna have a billionaire power breakfast. Get your organization to be part of it, because you're going to hear it from our own people. It's time for us to write our own story and tell our own story, the truth. We can no longer and solve our problems. We can no longer depend on others to solve our problem. We have to solve our problem. We have to solve our problem. We have to tell our story, the truth. There's so many good things about our people that you will not find on the mainstream media. So we need to do it ourselves. Also, we do have a book called Africa's Brain Power, written by the best. It's actually a compilation of the editorials from this show from March 2016 to December 2017. Dr. Asonglefac Nkemleke, the best in the journalistic icon. That book was written by him. It's on it's Amazon. It's called Africa's Brain Power. That's a good gift anytime. And I see our Chief Medical Advisor, Dr. Kingsley Ogoji, just zoom in. Dr. Ogoji, you're welcome. I think you're still trying to connect your video, but we do have the pleasure of having Dr. Rose Leke as our special guest, zoom in all the way from Cameroon. So Nia, so I'm gonna hand over to you, and you can give the airways to Dr. Ogoji.
Thank you very much, Reverend Pam, and thank you as always from Houston, Texas. Dr. Ogoji, once you're connected, we'll call on you. But for now, let us go to our guest, Dr. Rose Leke. I know she'll be leaving soon, if she has not yet already started gathering her things to go. Dr. Leke, before you begin to think of going, maybe you start giving us your last word on what should the African do on the continent in the face of this coronavirus. Should they just take it for granted, as some people are taking for granted in Cameroon, for example, or should they really show concern and protect themselves against this unseen virus?
Okay, Dr. Leke, you are muted.
Yes, I am.
Oh, okay.
Thank you very much for this question. In fact, I sent you, if you go out, and maybe I'll send it to MAPAM, the paper we came out with in the American Journal of Tropical Medicine and Hygiene. MAPAM, I'll send it to you. It has 10 different points, or 13 or something like that. Yeah. What really this COVID-19, people should take it. I think for what I'm seeing, I'm like, people are not taking it seriously. The gravity of it maybe hasn't been felt. And hopefully the worst is not still coming, but I'm afraid from projections and so on, we may not get to whatever, we may get even past that. We don't know yet. So the thing people have to take this, there are those measures. If everyone women have been going on now, if you see the tailors making the masks, they sell them so cheaply, they don't make much from it. Women are doing it, even men are doing it, tailors. If everybody say in Cameroon or anywhere else, because I think we've seen that masks have helped, right? Yeah. The social or physical distancing has helped. Those measures have been put. And if people would do that and not having meeting in groups, you're still hearing now about death ceremonies, and people are still going to be buried. We're going to bury this one, going to bury this one, and many people are still going, you know? So the severity of this, I wonder, I had a one time here, I was being interviewed on TV, and I was talking about having much of these messages also in the local languages. I think that was taken because somehow now you can hear it. I did it even in Pidgin, and somehow you can hear it in different languages now once in a while. So that the community, if community can really take this and own it, have community ownership of this whole process of what we're going through. And I think that is starting little by little when you see them now receiving the gifts and realizing this, opposed to washing of hands, social distancing, wearing of the mask, and so masks are being given to communities and buckets and soap and so on for washing hands and all. Maybe that people should take this seriously, really own this. Maybe we'll get somewhere with it. So it's really that people have to get the messages. And maybe we also look at what correct messages can go in to the community. Communication is very important. And be able to communicate also all that is going on. Because when there is a gap, sometimes people don't know, they make up their own. Yeah. So the messages that give the true messages should be going out all the time, so people are conversant with what the reality is. So, you know, and really all I can, you know, we take this seriously and forget about, there's so much in social media, so much fake news, so much, like I talked about these vaccines. Sometimes you don't know what to take, which is true, but I still want to say, please, information to our people about the importance of vaccines and vaccination. Pam, you said something of not using Africans as guinea pigs. I don't think, you know, it's using Africans as guinea pigs as much as when you have trials. If you have clinical trials, when they do it, they will do it first where the vaccine is produced. That is it. But once they're done, then they have to go do it in other areas. How can we just say, let them do it all there? When it's good, then they come to us. Maybe that's not for us. So we need also to be part of these clinical trials. They are not using us as guinea pigs. They want to make sure that what they're using as the strain of that virus, whatever they use to make the virus with, will also work for Africa as it will work for Europe. So people should understand that. They will do the first trials over there. But for them to know that these vaccines will also work in Africa, we need to do our own trials in Africa. They are not using anybody as guinea pigs. It has to be done there to show that what they have as vaccines will also work here. And then we'll be able to say, yes, it works in Africa and we can use it. So it's not like that's what we have to get the correct messages all the time and know what we're doing. And really try to work against this anti-vaccine activists, because they are not helping us, especially us Africans. Other countries can get away with good health systems, what they have, but with our weak health systems, we need these vaccines for protection for our children. And so we should really make sure that we're getting the right messages as it should be given.
Thank you so much, Professor Leke. And we're going to turn our attention to our in-house medical expert, one of our medical team members, Dr. Goji. You live in the northwest of the United States. Now, tell us, how has it been out there the past 2 weeks?
He's driving. Dr. Goji, can you hear?
Oh, hi, I do. Okay.
Oh, okay.
The situation in the state of Washington is getting better relatively. It started in the state of Washington, and even though we're getting more cases, it's because we're doing more testing. If you don't test, you will not get. Of course, the effect on the hospitals in the western part of the state has been reduced, so less hospitalization and less overwhelming of the healthcare system. So it's looking good. So the state is going to reopen slowly. You know, this coronavirus has become so political that it depends whether you're a Republican or Democrat. the way you respond to it depends on your political affiliation, which is unfortunate. But my state governor has opened some few counties. Spokane is actually the second biggest city in the state. So we're yet to reopen. Even within the state itself, there is controversy as to how to open. The mayor is saying something else. The city council is saying something else. So it's all full of confusion.
Unfortunately, though, it shouldn't be like that.
Yeah.
Okay, Dr. Ogoji, the role of women in fighting COVID-19, what would you say coming from your own part of the globe?
Well, the role of women can never be more emphasized than this time around. We know that both here at home, a clean house depends on the women.
Yes.
So I would say that if the women don't try to clean the counter table, the kitchen tops, the doorknobs, the handrails, nobody will do it.
Thank you.
If the women don't ask the children to do it, you go do this, nobody will do it. So this is a disease that there's a lot of unknown. We don't know. Every day, things are changing every day. But what we know is this: good hand hygiene, face masks, social distancing to all prevent the spread of this disease. A country like Sweden, whereby they did not close the elementary school, they only closed the colleges, they didn't close the malls, they just closed some few, they just ensure that people wear masks, some social distancing, good hand hygiene. And the number of deaths in Sweden is almost 2,000 compared to about 500 to 600 in other neighboring Scandinavian countries with the same population. So definitely there's some benefit in hand washing, social distancing, and face masks and things like that. So women, their role in this particular pandemic will be to ensure that every member of the household do their best. You know, this is new to all of us. Do your best. Wash your hand. Clean everything. That's the best they can do to make things better.
Thank you so much. Reverend Pam, I think you have something to say.
Yes, Dr. Ogoji, thank you. I know you are driving. You're probably coming from the hospital. I want to echo something that Dr. Leke said. And Dr. Leke, what you said is so true. However, we have to continue to educate our people. The truth is that there have been a lot of fears, a lot of distrust in the medical system. But you are in that in the inside of this thing, more knowledgeable than the regular John or Mary out there. The truth of the matter is that even with medications like antihypertensive medication, anti-diabetic medications, we know, even when I do medical missions, whether here or on the continent, during the medical missions, number one diagnosis is always high blood pressure, followed by diabetes. The truth of the matter is that a lot of those medications that are being used to treat those ailments don't really work for our people, because our people naturally and generally don't participate in clinical trials. So we have to educate them. But the truth of the matter, Dr. Leke, is that fear is real, because even though we need those vaccines tested on our people, we don't really want them being tested as phase 1, or maybe phase 2 or phase 3 clinical trials. So that's where people like you come in to help educate our people. Say, yes, once these vaccines have been tested where they started the trials, it needs to be tested on our people, but it will take some time for that trust to be regained, because trust has to be earned. I know we have just 12 minutes left. Dr. Leke, can you weigh in on this? We do echo what you're saying. However, there have been instances in the past where our people were used as guinea pigs. We're not saying that vaccines are bad. We just don't want the wrong ones to be given to our people. And as of now, there is no vaccine for COVID-19. We do have people that have been showcasing coronavirus vaccines on social media that they work. So I want you, Dr. Leke, to weigh in on that before you step out. You're muted, Dr. Leke.
Yeah. You know, problem, I have people who were doing HIV work. They are doing like case contacting for HIV out in the field a few days ago. And they went out, and when they go out, they say, you brought that your vaccine, you can never touch us. This is completely different. And this is the effect. I say we are in trouble because the day they even have the right COVID-1 and it is at phase 2B to come and try us and everything like that, you know, we have to start working now to get our population to understand that it's not just that they're coming to use us for guinea pigs. It's important. Vaccines are important. We should be part of trials so we can use them. And that not everyone who comes, I am now concerned about polio virus. You know, we have, right now we should have been doing some kind of SIAs on, you know, polio campaigns, but that has been put up and the polio people are being used now for COVID. Because right now we hope that in Africa, we don't have any more polio. Imagine how many children were being paralyzed. You saw them on streets, paralyzed and going, and you imagine how it used to be. Right now, you don't see any of that anymore on the African continent. So this year, we're supposed to say Africa is free of polio. And it's because of all these vaccines. If you take any of that polio vaccine out now to anybody anywhere, they will drive you away. That's the problem we have because, and then we had a little gap where something happened and then they have this, in the world now, there are anti-vaccine activists in the world that are against vaccine. Let's not get carried out. You know, these people convince us that vaccines are not important. Let's also help to fight that because we, especially in our systems, where vaccines have been so useful to protect our children, we have to be able to get the right messages and get the people to understand the importance of vaccines and of vaccination and get the right messages. And then when it comes out, if they have any questions to ask, but just not to go ahead and it's like, don't bring any vaccine to me anymore, don't do this, we will get into worse trouble. We are going to get outbreaks of measles, outbreaks of whatever it is, you know, if we start with that kind of attitude, you know, just following up with this anti-vaccine activity.
Thank you so much, Professor Leke. And Dr. Ogochi, I think you still have a thought on your mind. Say it before it's too late.
Yeah. Well, I agree with Dr. Leke about the vaccine, anti-vaccine propaganda going on all over the world. Vaccines are great. I'm a big proponent of vaccine. On the other hand, I agree with Reverend Pam because distrust or lack of trust has been an issue with healthcare delivery in Africans and the white man coming to Africa to vaccinate us. I will not agree. I mean, for us to generate our own vaccine, just like with any other medication, trials need to be done in all the population across the board. African Americans, Asians, and Caucasians. If you do the studies only on Caucasians, of course, it may work for the white people, it may not work for the black people. That's why we need to become part of the study. Unfortunately, because of previous incidents about racism and all the things going on about racism, we cannot really trust everything we see out there. So that being said, that's why our own people need to get involved in this research. So if I go back to my village today and I'm talking as a doctor to my village people that have this vaccine that I think it will work, and I talk, I will convince many more people than somebody with a white skin to come and talk to the people. So based on that, I don't know how we're going to do this because we cannot keep on condemning the whites in what they're doing, and meanwhile, we're not putting our hands together to make things better for ourselves. There is no reason why universities in Africa cannot go into research and bring vaccines and work for us. Instead, we tend to belittle ourselves sometimes from either for political gain or for, I don't know the reason, in fact, one done one lecturer, one virologist in University of in Nnamdi Azikiwe University, Oka, Anambra State, a virologist, the head of the research system for COVID-19 vaccine, came out on the news and said they have found vaccine for coronavirus. This is a virologist, PhD, head of the study. So when he said something like that, meanwhile, he has designed a vaccine that is effective on computer model, has not done phase 1 trial, and is assuming that it's effective. And he come out and say things like that, you know, I wonder, I mean, he was fired. Thank goodness, University of said, look, our institution have not developed any vaccine for this coronavirus. This man has worked so hard, they have designed a computer model from a vaccine that could be effective. But there are stages of trial that we need to go through. That's the next step before we claim we find vaccine. So it's a very, very catch-22. Trust me, I'm a medical doctor. If I am in Nigeria, you bring coronavirus to me to take, I'm not going to take it. But I will take it here. I will take it here because I know they are giving it to people here, everybody here. Of course, I wouldn't go to the black neighborhood and take it. I'm sorry. I will take it where the fellow colleagues are taking it. So we have to be careful. A lot of things about the way, I mean, how can you explain why more blacks are dying in this country from coronavirus compared to whites? It's true that we black people have more pre-existing condition, obesity, but that will not explain the disproportionate death in black. I can guarantee you that if there are 3 patients wanting ventilator in New York, 3 black and 1 white, they have to decide to give it to a white person. That's subconsciously, true. Without thinking about the black people. So there's some mistrust, we must agree is there. So the vaccine should not start in Africa. If you must start, let our own local scientists get involved.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ogoji. We're running out of time. We need to give time to our guest to say her last word. Professor Dr. Leke, please have your last word, and then we can begin to fold up on this program. We continue to say thank you very much for coming in.
Yes.
Dr. Leke.
Dr. Leke, please unmute. Thank you. Okay.
Yes. You know, I just listened to the last speaker. You know, there is something called, in all this science, quality control.
Yes.
If you want to help the Africans, you all that are there, make sure that the vaccines coming here go to the quality control process well. That's all. Yeah. You are there, you say you will take it only the vaccines with the whites, you won't take it with the others. But all you have to do is make sure you're getting good quality control, put that quality control for what is given them, that is the same quality that is being given to everybody. I think we all have a duty. It's not to say I'll vaccinate here, I won't go vaccinate that. No, we'll make it so it is suitable for everyone. There's equity that is equitable for everyone. And all we have to do there is put our effort in making sure that there is quality, good QC, quality control, quality assurance in all of this everywhere. And like for what is coming here, we make sure that we find people who can do the quality control out there before they even are coming. So all this goes into place. So, you know, you're saying whatever you are, but if you want to help the Africans, this is a good way to help them. And I want to wish a happy Mother's Day to everybody that has been on this program. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much. It's been a pleasure. And Reverend Pam and Dr. Ogoji, there was Solange, there was Sylvia, there was a caller. I didn't get her name quite properly, but I hope she inbox us.
She's still on.
Her name. That being said, and since the topic was the role of women in fighting COVID-19, this is what is happening in Zambia. The BBC just reported this story. Sex workers in Zambia, take note, sex workers in Zambia are helping to trace people who have contracted coronavirus after new infections at the border town of Nakonde. This is what the health minister said. The minister, Chitalu Chilufa, said 76 of 85 reported new cases in the northern town were either sex workers or lorry drivers. So sex workers and the lorry drivers are playing a key role in helping to detect people who are carriers of the coronavirus or the COVID-19. That said, Reverend Pam, your last word, then we can close the show.
I'll just take my time to Dr. Ogoji. We have less than 1 minute.
Oh, Dr. Ogoji.
Well, I would say Happy Mother's Day to all the moms.
That's right. Thank you for coming.
Happy Mother's Day.
To save me from all the women.
Happy Mother's Day to all the moms and all the mothers around the world and all the women in our life. You women rock. You are the backbone of the family.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Reverend Pam.
Yeah, Dr. Leke, I have learned a lot today. Thank you so much. You are such an icon. You are such a servant leader, and God will continue to bless you and renew your youth. And to our sister, Lost iPhone, I know I mispronounced your name. You are part of this family. You know, Zoom in same time every week. We are here, but inbox also we can add you to the WhatsApp forum. And Reverend Solange, thank you so much. Back to you, Aso.
Thank you so very much. And it is on that note that we're going to close the show today. We are really, really, really very grateful to Dr. and Mrs. Leke from Cameroon. We are grateful to all of you who participated today, either just listening or dialing in to ask questions. We are grateful that we have you. We are grateful that Africa Online Media Corporation is still alive and that COVID-19 will go away and we'll be here to continue the program. Thanks be to God. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers, and please see you next week. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Nkemleke. It was so good to
Thank
hear
you.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Leke. Bye-bye.
All right.